Let's take a look at this business that does technical documentation solutions for the global aerospace industry. It is making a profit of $457,000 per year and was recently listed for sale at an asking price of $1,700,000. I'm going to go through the business listing here and pick out some of the key details so that we all understand the business and the context that we're speaking in, and then I'll go back and kind of flesh out the details a little bit more and share some of my own experience-based insight into what I know from running businesses and what I think about these details, and ultimately my own opinion of this business's valuation. So let's start by, we'll start at the top, talking about what they call out here in the title. 2 key points. It's been in business for 38 years. That is a relatively long time to be in business for an online business. And they've got some kind of proprietary templates. In the first sentence here, they say it is a professional services company with nearly 4 decades of experience delivering high-demand technical documentation solutions to the global aerospace industry. The company specializes in creating mission-critical materials that support every stage of the aerospace lifecycle, from design and production through maintenance and overhaul. They've got a long-standing reputation for precision and compliance and reliability. The business produces an extensive range of specialized technical manuals, including maintenance and wiring documentation, data modules, and technical orders. Each delivery is custom built to client specifications and adheres to strict industry standards. I have to say that personally speaking, I know absolutely nothing about this industry, and most likely neither do you. But let's keep going here. I know about business, and most likely you do too if you're at this video. The result is a 65% net profit margin. They have invested very little in digital marketing, and that presents a clear opportunity. They have an efficient team of skilled writers, illustrators, and IT specialists supported by seasoned contractors. The founder remains actively involved in project oversight and client communication. Again, they've got a 65% margin. The company's recurring work with leading aerospace firms showcases both trust and long-term demand. So they've got some recurring work, and they've got 40 years of proven performance. Well, I guess we cannot doubt that. Wow, so much here in a business that I think all of us know so little about. All right, so considering that I know little about it and you probably do too as a business buyer, the team really matters. Like, the team really matters because you have to be able to rely on the team to create all of this technical documentation and whatnot. And I can tell you that I am in no position to jump in and learn how to do that. So as a potential buyer, I would first diligence how robust this team is. Who's full-time? Who's a contractor? How hard is it to find skilled contractors to fulfill the services? And while it's typically not hard to find contractors to fulfill services that can be done remote or virtually, you got to consider here, we're talking about the aerospace industry, right? Like, there's literally people's lives at stake if your service does not deliver, if you don't absolutely meet the standards and exceed them. You could be running into, maybe it's extreme, but Boeing 737 MAX stuff, right? That's ringing a bell in my head. Remember several years ago, there's a bunch of issues with, I think, the software on the plane because they were outsourcing it to overseas, low-budget, non-vetted contractors, right? Like, this is literally mission-critical stuff here. So there's a lot on the line. Your team is really important. Now, I'm looking at things here in terms of gross income and cash flow. I don't really like how they call it gross income and cash flow. I mean, this is really sales revenue, and that is cash flow. I guess you could say cash flow. You could say profitability, SDE. Business brokers really use the terms interchangeably, and granted, it can be different for each business, right? So it's hard to get a real unified term there. So as a business buyer, you got to understand, hey, is this SDE? Is this free cash flow? Is this some adjusted EBITDA? Like, what exactly is it? Because that can vary. Anyways, gross income here is really the sales number that the business is doing, but $686,000 to $457,000 in profit A, it's a high margin, but B, that doesn't leave a lot of room in there for full-time staff members. That is really concerning to me because I'm thinking, all right, I want to see some US-based staff members in here, right, that are like signing off on this work and assuring that it is high quality, but there's simply not enough room in here to have a team of US-based staff members. Maybe they have non-US-based staff members that are full-time, but again, can they be relied on? And can this business operate at this level and fulfill at this level without the seller? That is a very, very, very crucial piece of this pie. First thing I'd want to diligence, and first thing I'd start asking questions about if I got this in. Next up, we'll talk about little investment in digital marketing, and that presents a clear opportunity. Yes, that can present a clear opportunity in a lot of cases, but in this case, I don't really see this business as being one that is sold through traditional marketing like SEO and Google ads and meta ads and all that, right? Like this, this is probably a very tight-knit industry. So how this business really grows is through business development, being out there, shaking hands, meeting with people, and people knowing literally who your people are, right? People in the industry or customers knowing who you guys are, and really having that direct relationship. This is really a relationship transaction, right? The market is not big enough to where you just run meta ads and suddenly you get a bunch of people that need aerospace documentation. Like, no, I don't know how many customers there are, what the total addressable market is in terms of unique customers, but it may not be that big. And actually, I'm going to say it's not that big relative to most other things. Whereas if you, let's just say, own a business that sells, I don't know, shoes, could be anything, your total addressable market can realistically be billions, right? Here, it's maybe dozens, hundreds at best. And I'd guess at a certain size, companies have their own internal documentation teams. I don't know how much of it is outsourced. That would certainly be something I'd want to see. But again, the point I'm trying to make is I don't see digital marketing as being a very lucrative or worthy opportunity. Maybe I'm wrong there, but I think this would really be suited for business development. And therefore, you'd probably want to have some experience in business development and going to trade shows and all that stuff if you're going to acquire this business. The recurring work down here is very nice. Recurring business is always nice. It's nice to kind of keep the customers coming back and having them. That's a good sign. And finally, I think we'll wind it down here with this point. The founder remains actively involved in project oversight and client communications. This tells me here, the client communication part really tells me that the founder is a pretty crucial member of the business and of the team, and that many of the clients probably know him and they rely on him, which makes it tricky to step in as a buyer and acquire. Right? So on that note, who should acquire this business? And what might you want to consider here if you are interested in it? And I think it has to be somebody that is really motivated to learn all about the aerospace industry. Like, you have to be ready to jump in headfirst and obsess about the aerospace industry and technical documentation for 60 hours a week. All right, if you want a business that you can run on the side of running other businesses, or kind of like a side hustle. I don't want to say side hustle. I don't like the term side hustle. I don't like the concept of a side hustle. But if you want a business that you can run while you're raising a family or something, this is probably not it. You have to be very motivated here to jump in and learn this aerospace stuff inside and out. Number one. Number two, you have to make sure that this seller is in some way tied to the future performance of the business. If I am understanding his level of involvement or her level of involvement correctly here. If my assumptions are correct, most likely some type of earnout structure with the seller still being involved for a period of time, and not just earnout, not like seller financing, earnout, performance-based earnout, right? If the business goes up, and the business is doing well, the amounts may be a little bit higher, incentivizes the seller to stay in and fulfill, or gets reduced if things kind of collapse. This is a good business. I like the business model here. But what is concerning to me is the seller's involvement here in an industry and business that is just so niche and technically oriented. That is really what is concerning. At a 4x valuation, I think the valuation multiple is a little bit steep, but not on the, outside. It's not outside the ballpark. It's a little steep, but not outside the ballpark here. If the business had more employees, or maybe if one of these 4 employees here, could competently run the business, which is not the case, or they would not have, described what the founder's activities in the business are. But if there was, genuine team in there where the customers didn't have any clue who the founder or current owner of the business was, I think it would really substantiate this valuation. But considering that, I think that there needs to be a adjustment to the valuation multiple. On that note, guys, what do you think? Is there anything you feel like I missed out on or overlooked in this business listing? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful and insightful, you know the drill. Smash that like button to help me out in the YouTube algorithm. I am calling it a wrap and signing off.